the most competitive friendly tournament of all time. The most competitive friendly tournament of all time. I don't know. Maybe I'm making too much of this. But when I think of some of the friendly tournaments that we've seen over the years, like the Super Cup, the Super Cups, really, the Spanish Super Cup, the European Super Cup, the Community Shield. I remember when growing up when the Telkom Knockout was a true friendly tournament over 2 days, and it usually had Pirates, Sundowns, Kaiser Chiefs, and some other team. I don't know. Like it had four teams, and it spanned over 2 days. It would be the Saturday, the semifinals, and Saturday and Sunday, the final. People who know like this goes way back, but you know what? Like now that I think about all the friendly tournaments that we've had, maybe the Nations League is not there yet, but it is one of the most competitive tournaments because, like, it's starting to get there. Like, it's starting to get where people are talking about it, like, oh, it's a trophy. Like seeing Ronaldo cry because he hasn't won a trophy in a long time, and he should celebrate it as a trophy. Man, get out of here. Ish. Jesus. My God. Like the Nations League. I remember days. I remember days when like we used to say, the 2008 Olympic gold medal for Lionel Messi was a big thing. And people used to say, nah, hell no. Now, now the Nations League it's a real thing. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, it was a good game. I don't think, I don't think the Portugal versus Spain final Nations League, I don't think it was like a great game. Um, for me, it felt a bit flat. Um, it didn't feel like it had that kind of final energy. It didn't feel like it was like a huge international final, like a World Cup or like a European Championship. You know what I mean? Because essentially it isn't. It's just the Nations League. And if you think about it, right, like going back to the game, there were so many changes. At some point, I was just losing my mind because it felt like the coaches were taking out every single player and bringing in a new starting 11. You know what I mean? Like, let's just look at the lineups and see who was subbed off. Like, just thinking off the top of my head right now, Nico Williams was subbed off. Pedri was subbed off. Um, um, who's the other midfielder? Fabian Ruiz was subbed off. Uh, the Spain right back, I forgot his name, was subbed off. Like were just a lot of people were taken off. Ronaldo came off in near the end of the second half. So like it was a good game. Um, like it was a weird balance of like both teams wanting to win the tournament, but also it still felt like a true friendly tournament because of all the substitutions. You know what I mean? Like the entire front line for Spain came off, even though Lamine Yamal played almost the entire game, even extra time. He eventually was subbed off. And so like it was like, in as much as it was something to watch, like it was a game I wanted to watch, but I can't say it was like a real thing, you know. Um, but like, credit to Portugal. I think they played well, even though Spain dominated like possession, especially in the first half. But like coming into the second half, like you could see Portugal kind of coming into their own, gaining momentum, gaining confidence. They didn't have all the possession, but they were in control, if you know what I mean. Like Spain had all the possession, passed it side to side, winger to winger, fullback to fullback. From midfield, Zubimendi, I think Zubimendi played well. And if you're an Arsenal fan watching that game, you should be a little excited. But anyway, not gonna go into that. But like even with all the possession that Spain had 62% ball possession, Portugal at 38, but it didn't feel like Spain were threatening Portugal as much as they would have wanted. Like Portugal were in control of the whole game. And I think like a huge part of that was Nuno Mendes. What a game, man. Like the way he performed and the way he went up against Lamine Yamal, he did not show any fear at all of the 17-year-old. He went at him. He was all up in his face, didn't give him space to run into, as soon as Lamine had the ball. He was right there, didn't give him time. And it's not like Nuno Mendes didn't, like, he wasn't, shirt tight. He wasn't like right there all the time next to Lamine Yamal. But he was right there to close him off enough so that Lamine Yamal doesn't do his usual trickery and magic. But he gave him enough space. And also he gave himself enough space, Nuno Mendes, to say, if you run down the line, I can go with you. And if you try to cut inside, and I'll be right there with you to follow you, to shadow you. And I think Nuno Mendes played the perfect game against Lamine Yamal, probably, in my eyes, the best player in the world. He was amazing. Defensively, great, solid. Offensively, he left Lamine Yamal a number of times in his wake because he was the one who scored the goal. Lamine Yamal lost track of him, right? But not only Lamine Yamal, I mean, like the fullback for Spain, Mingueza, that's his name, Mingueza, lost his man. And even in the second goal, Nuno Mendes went past Lamine Yamal. Now, for that goal, I really do blame Mingueza because, okay, like Nuno Mendes goes past Lamine Yamal on the outside. Now, when he goes outside, you expect your fullback to be right there covering for you, And Mingueza, for some odd reason, he tried to press up. I think that was Bruno Fernandes. I think he thought maybe Nuno Mendes would pass it back into midfield to Bruno Fernandes. And Mingueza, like he gambled. He gambled there. And he tried to go at Bruno Fernandes, I think, in midfield. And that gave Nuno Mendes the space to attack. Crossed it into the box really well, hard and low. Created chaos, and Ronaldo was there to finish it off. Like 40 years old, still playing at this level. I didn't think he had a great game, Cristiano Ronaldo, but he had the decisive moment to bring Portugal back into the game and scored the equalizer. So, that was a good goal. That was a good performance by Portugal. You could see them, coming into their own as the game progressed. And yeah, I think like Portugal played, Nuno Mendes was a little bit of how Portugal played. Strong, in control, determined, powerful. And so that's the game went into penalties, extra time went into penalties. And like Alvaro Morata, I could see he was going to miss. He's not a very good technical player. He's never been great technically. He's not a gifted player. He's not silky. He's not got great technique. And so I was surprised that Spain chose him to take a penalty. Nightmare. Like I could see that a mile away. I could see that one coming. Stevie Wonder could have told you Morata was going to miss that penalty. But anyway, I think it was a good game. Lamine Yamal, this was probably one of his worst performances I've seen from him, especially in a big game. I think Lamine Yamal is probably the best big game player in the world right now. In big games, Madrid, Barcelona, Madrid, Bayern Munich, for Spain. Sorry, against France. He usually performs. He usually comes up big. maybe Portugal needed to have Kylian Mbappe for Lamine Yamal to perform well, because he always puts egg on Kylian Mbappe's face all the time. But you know what? Like, I have to say this as well. Like, the Nations League, as good as it is, right? Just want to read to you the purpose of the Nations League and why I feel like it's a friendly tournament, right? It says here, introduced in the 2018-2019 season, the Nations League was designed by UEFA to replace many of the traditional international friendlies, aiming to create a more competitive and meaningful fixtures. It replaced the international friendlies for Europe. That's all it is. So anyway, like, saw Ronaldo cry. Yeah, saw Portugal celebrate. They won the World Cup basically. Shout out to them. They won the World Cup. But like, Ronaldo is still scoring goals at 40 years old, still decisive. He's amazing. He's amazing. But nice game, nice tournament, nice win for Cristiano Ronaldo in Portugal. Well done to them, you know? So anyway, that was fun. That was fun. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel at We Talk Football 24. Comment. Sorry. Leave your thoughts below. Look us up on Instagram and on Facebook at We Talk Football 24, on Instagram at We Talk Football on Facebook. Anyway, that was good. Nice game. Adios. Have a nice week. Awareness.